It's Tuesday, July 2nd. You're watching the Damon Brew Show, brought to you by Ike Sandwiches. We got some stuff for you today here. We got some aftermath of Klay Thompson's departure to get to. We have an official statement from Steph Curry saying, "Gonna miss you, Klay Thompson. Even though we won't finish the journey together, what we did will never be done again. Couldn't have imagined a better run with you and Money Green, Draymond. Change the whole Bay Area. Change the way the game is played. Killer Klay at the center of it all. Thank you for everything, bro. Go enjoy playing basketball and doing what you do. Splash Bros for life." What can you really take away from a, publicly sanitized goodbye on Instagram? I look at that last line. Go enjoy playing basketball and doing what you do. I don't know how much Klay has enjoyed playing basketball since coming back from his Achilles injury. Yeah, they were able to manufacture a championship that a lot of people didn't expect at the end there, and that was fantastic. But the amount of joy that Klay Thompson experienced, I think, on a daily basis was muted by just the constant evaluation of his basketball mortality. How much did he have left? What can he still do for the Warriors? Can't help but notice that he can still have a good night. He just can't summon it the way that he used to. We have talked about this an awful lot. Look, what I don't want here in the aftermath, and it started to creep out just a little with some of the reports that people who are around the Warriors are saying, like, he turned into a little bit of a problem. Beware the "he became a problem" story. I think Klay became frustrated. I think an awful lot of NBA players become frustrated in their careers, and it's dealt with almost a worse outcome than Klay was dealt with. Klay might have gotten a little upset, a little pouty at the end, a little upset with the way that Steve Kerr was managing his minutes and his role on the team. But everything he did publicly facing basically, let us know that he was aware of a declining skill set. He became increasingly frustrated with himself and the team for sure, and how he was used. But Klay, the problem, I don't think Klay was ever really a problem for the Golden State Warriors. You look at the most controversial thing that might have happened throughout his entire career. He once hit our friend Whitley in the head with a paper airplane after a press conference. Like, that's about as much trouble as Klay's ever gotten into. The guy was the perfect teammate for over a decade. So don't let the unraveling of a couple of frustrating years, I think, for everybody involved with the Warriors. I think everybody on the Warriors has been around each other for just maybe a little bit too long. And, you've got a lot of personalities that when they rub against each other might bother each other a little bit after you've been around each other for so long. I think what's happened is normal and natural and not abstract. The split, a little bit sour, but look, things usually end badly. And things usually end worse than this. Now, it sucks because the guy's beloved. It sucks because there's an awful lot of parents who had to have that talk with their kids about how sometimes business and sports get in the way of each other, and this is why Klay Thompson's not going to be here anymore. I'm sure that there were plenty of tears, for younger Warrior fans who found out that Klay Thompson wasn't going to be here anymore. And that always hurts, but that happens in sports. It's going to come for you eventually. You just don't know where it's going to come from. The Warriors, I know that there's been a lot of frustration with the fact that the Warriors were, only able to turn one of their greatest players in franchise history into 2 second-round picks. But the truth is that Klay could have been gone for nothing. So 2 second-round picks doesn't sound like a lot, but it is better than nothing. Him agreeing to the sign trade did a little something for the Warriors on the way out the door, but not very much. The truth is, the real way to have extracted some value out of Klay Thompson for really going forward future value would have been to do the unthinkable, which was to trade him in the last couple of years. Like, the Warriors didn't have the stones to do that. They might have had the stones to move on at this point in time. They might have had the stones to slow play him, knowing that that might rub him the wrong way. And Anthony Slater explored that, and we're going to get into that here in just a second. But they didn't have the balls to trade him straight up. They did have the ganas to let him actually walk away. which, look, they still put a $48 million offer in front of him before the year even started, and he said, no, I'm not signing it. So, I just think that the fuse had burnt all the way down to the end. And again, go enjoy playing basketball and doing what you do. I don't know how much enjoyment Klay Thompson got out of his last couple of years in a Warriors uniform. Now, it is a job, right? It's not supposed to be enjoyed at all times, but, it gets frustrating, and guys attach their egos to their game and their paycheck. And, Klay felt disrespected there. Anthony Slater, who, it does as good a job covering the Warriors as any beat writer does on the team that they're sitting on. Anthony Slater broke it all down, and he basically said, Klay Thompson operates on his own wavelength. The Warriors' decision makers were warned that a drawn-out negotiation into July during his free agent cycle wouldn't be met the same way. He wasn't trying to leverage his way back until the bitter end, and after a bumpy end to a grumpy year, there was a realistic chance that he went searching for a fresh start and more happiness elsewhere, regardless of how rapidly and warmly the Warriors prioritized him. Again, this goes back to, does he even want to be around? I mean, think about how it honestly would have ended. Suppose Klay Thompson is still a Golden State Warrior, and they are either a playoff participant and not much more, or don't make it deep into the playoffs, or maybe even miss the playoffs as they did in Klay's final year because they blow it in the play-in tournament. Do you think Klay would be laid down gently by what has turned into one of the more obnoxious fan bases in the NBA? No, he would have been ridden hard and put away wet, and everyone would have ended on a dour note anyway. Like Klay Thompson walking away, and it's better to say goodbye a year too early than a year too late. Like, it just feels like this break is so sudden and new, it hurts, but it's not the worst thing that could have happened. And it actually opens up some opportunity for the Warriors, which we'll get into. But back to Klay Thompson. Back to Anthony Slater's story on Klay Thompson, where he said there was little communication between Thompson and the Warriors and his agent, Greg Lawrence, and ultimately no offer came in this cycle. Warriors sources maintain a plan to eventually make a competitive offer in relation to his market once business was settled, but they never even had a chance. Many league sources said that Thompson's decision to depart was unofficially made a few weeks ago. You can spend all the time you want being angry at the Warriors for slow playing a negotiation, maybe inviting with their actions an opportunity to walk away, but it sounds like Klay has been mentally walking away from the Warriors. And if you're a believer that the video doesn't lie, I want you, if you can find it, and it's out there because I've seen it on Twitter, Klay Thompson goes 0 for 10 up in Sacramento as the Warriors lose their last chance to enter the playoffs. They lose to the Kings up in Sacramento at Golden 1. As Klay is walking off the court, he physically does a U-turn and takes one last look around. In the moment, maybe it didn't mean very much, but hindsight always being 2020, knowing what we know now, it really did look like Klay Thompson was taking one last look from the Warriors sideline in his Warriors uniform because he knew he wasn't going to be wearing it going forward. I think Klay Thompson mentally divorced himself of the Warriors going forward before the Warriors even realized that that's what they were doing. And I honestly don't begrudge the guy the opportunity for a fresh start somewhere. Again, Klay Thompson would have been the dying embers of a dynasty that wasn't going to burn as brightly as it once did. Or he can go to a new situation and represent, hey, a new avenue to win, a new toy to play with. Klay Thompson might have been a lot of things for the Golden State Warriors at the end, but a new toy to play with certainly wasn't going to be one of them. It stinks that things come to an end. But that's the way sports works. And as everybody is trying to come up with the hottest take and identify or find the bad guy, what I think is we just have a lot of mutual frustration boiling over into a decision that when you really think about it, it's not as rash as some people are trying to make it out to be. I will say this, though. Thank God he's not a Laker. And we'll get into that in just 1 second. What I want you to do right now, though, is to get into your app store and download the Ike's Rewards app. I need you to do that before midnight on January 3rd because Ike is going to be putting $4 in Ike's Rewards points into that app if you are signed up as a member for the 4th of July. So download the Ike's Reward app. Be the recipient of a free $4 little sprinkle bonus. Apply this to your next purchase, either having it picked up or delivered. Just order through that app. Start eating your way towards free sandwiches. And again, Ike is going to have $4 for the 4th of July just waiting for you over on his app. Obviously, we got a few stores in the Bay Area where this does not apply to. Whatever. What are you going to do? But make sure you download that app because for the vast majority of you, it's going to work like Cracker Jacks and you'll be very happy that you did the most delicious sandwich in the world waiting for you at Ike's. Download that app right now. One of the best poured pints of Guinness, a great beer, a good little whiskey pull just waiting for you with our good friends at the Dubliner and West Portal. We will be hosting Plus Mania 4 from the Dubliner and West Portal. Time still to be determined. We're going to have a date and a time for you coming up here soon. Looking forward to everyone gathering once again. Our goofy little community when it comes together. It's a fun thing. It really is. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks to everyone at the Dubliner. Go say hi to Kenny and John and tell them that the Damon Bruce Show sent you. Love you, Dubliner West Portal. Not to be confused with any other Dubliner. There is another one, but it ain't our Dubliner. Our Dubliners in West Portal, baby. So thanks so much to the sponsors. Hit like and subscribe to support the show. Great way to support the show. Again, liking, subscribing. We do have memberships available. If you really want to go ahead and support the show, make sure you support the sponsors. That's a great way to support the show as well. We will be getting into a little Club Plus to see what's going on in the comments when we wrap up here today. On the podcast, we will keep going on YouTube. You all know the rules by now. Don't be sad that it's over. Be happy that it happened at all. It's kind of a good way to go through life. It's really good advice. Josh Dubow, who covers Bay Area sports oh so well, he put together the winningest playoff trios in NBA history. So the Spurs were a very, very special team, obviously. The Spurs picked up 126 wins with the big three of Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili running the show. 126 wins, the most shared between three teammates in NBA playoff history. 110 wins for Kareem, Magic, and Michael Cooper during the heyday of the Lakers dynasty. 98 wins for Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. One of the greatest trios of talent we have ever seen in the game of basketball, and probably, actually, there's no probably, they're definitely the most evolutionary trio in the history of basketball. Those three guys changed the sport more than any three guys on the way to winning anything or being a successful trio ever have. A final thought on Klay. Hold on. That's a sip of the day right there. That was perfect. That was well timed on my part. Who doesn't love good coffee? Thank God he's not a Laker. Right? I mean, more than anything else, if you can't be a Warrior, I guess I get it. But don't be a Laker. He's not a Laker, thank God. Although that does deny us a very funny experiment that I would have been interested in running. We all know that Klay Thompson has been awful at getting to the free throw line in his career. He's a jump shooter. He doesn't drive very often. He doesn't like putting the ball on the floor. So he doesn't get to the line very often. As a matter of fact, Klay Thompson has never averaged 3 free throws per game in his career. He came close in 1 year, 2.9 made free throws. But he's never averaged 3 free throws per game in his career. Imagine if Klay went to LA and then there he is, like on the line, 8 to 10 times per game, just because he's wearing a Lakers uniform, or LeBron teaches him how to flop with the best of them, or something. I mean, could you imagine if Klay Thompson all of a sudden was a one-man parade to the free throw line as a Los Angeles Laker, since they get every call in the world while the Warriors get the fewest amount of calls in the world, and that's why he never went? Wouldn't that have been kind of interesting to see if it actually played out that way? Again, thank God he's not a Laker, but I would have been interested in that. How many free throws does Laker Klay get as opposed to Warrior Klay ever got? That might have been interesting, but we don't have to worry about it. Meanwhile, we look at what remains. And I don't want to say it's Steph Curry and guys, because there's more talent than just guys on this roster. But you look at Steph Curry, and as today's thumbnail suggested, he really is now an army of one. I brought this up with Kruger on Monday's Wake Up. I brought it up with Cyrus. Now I'm bringing it up again because I think I might be onto something here. So everybody in the NBA scores, right? Like everybody in the NBA scores. Even bad teams score a lot of points these days. The Warriors averaged in a struggling offensive year to still manage a top 10 points per game offense with 118 points per game scored per game last year. And I bet you, even in Klay Thompson's absence, they're in that neighborhood next year as well. Returning to defense. Returning to a team-wide, team-embraced defensive mindset, I think, is a lever the Warriors have to pull. And there's no avoiding it. There's no working your way around it. The Warriors have no chance to be a competitive NBA team unless they are really dialed in as a defensive team, not for 40-ish games a year, not when the playoffs roll around, but for the entire season. That's their way back to the playoffs. Defensively, it's their way back. And look, DeAnthony Melton, it's certainly not a player that's going to sell tickets. He is not much of a player to get you excited about. To be honest, looking at the reaction of being on air live as it was announced that DeAnthony Melton is coming to the Golden State Warriors, I greeted it kind of with a shrug. You know, I don't remember him being really involved in Philadelphia. I remember that he was a pest when he was a Memphis Grizzly. Find me the Memphis Grizzly that wasn't a pain in the ass, though. That entire team's identity was everybody out here is a pain in the ass. DeAnthony Melton's a pretty good defensive player. You know, another short guard is not exactly what I would have ordered for the Warriors off of Amazon, trying to add players here, but he was in the mid-level price range. They signed him for a year, and a defensive guard he is. Play that defense. Play that defense around Steph Curry, again, who's an army of one. Steph Curry is going to be supported by last year's rooks, Podziemski and Trace Jackson Davis. He's got whatever is left of Draymond Green's career, and Draymond Green now officially owes it to this franchise to get his shit together and play the best defense that he has left in his body in a year where he's not suspended for buffoonery. Okay? That's what the Warriors need out of Draymond Green. His importance to this team just multiplied. That's a scary place to be operating from, because the man is a lot of things. Dependable really isn't one of them anymore. But Draymond Green, on his best behavior, is still a defensive force in nature for the Warriors, and they need him to be. So you got the rooks, you got whatever's left of Draymond, you have what's to come of Jonathan Kuminga's career, you got whatever Wiggins either brings to the court or delivers via a trade if they're able to move him. You got DeAnthony Melton, you got Looney, you got Gary Payton II, you got what? Quentin Post, the rookie out of Boston College. Don't really know if you should expect anything from him. But there you go. Those are your Warriors. And there is no path to the playoffs by being let's go out there and trade punches with anybody. You have to be a better defensive boxer than the rest of your weight class now if you want to do anything. If you want to do anything, the whole like defense wins championships, sure. Forget about championships for a second. Just defense gets you back to the postseason is what the Warriors need to embrace team wide. Do they have the perfect players to do it? No. But the truth is, there is never any more than 4 or 5 teams actually playing defense on any given night in the NBA. Defensive teams in the regular season stand out like sore thumbs. The Warriors need to become one of those defensive teams now, and you're still going to get your 115, 118 points per game, and that's how you get out of this. Getting out of this, I don't think means and you are NBA champions. Probably anymore. But there is a way to be good here at the end of Steph's journey, and that is he is an army of one. You never lose a game when he goes north of 35, 38 points. You can't afford to do that anymore. You cannot blow Steph was awesome tonight games and expect to be a playoff team going forward. You just can't anymore. The Warriors are living in a new world, and they have been for a long time. And look, Lauri Markkanen. I don't even have the chat open on my screen right now. I'm not even looking at it. I'm sure the name Lauri Markkanen has already been used in this chat today by someone saying, do you think? Can they? Will they? The only thing I can tell you about Lauri Markkanen is I've read 2 distinctly different stories about him within the last 65 minutes. In the last hour or so, I read an article that Utah is absolutely listening to offers and talking about Lauri Markkanen. I also read that Utah is not interested in trading Lauri Markkanen. So I don't know what to believe. And even if the Warriors were to trade for an all-star caliber player, would he change the chemistry of the team in a way that I think they need to play to even be a playoff team, more than just sticking with what they got and preaching defense into a still young team? By the way, the number one way to be a good defensive basketball team, the Warriors are already halfway there. And look, returning to defense doesn't cost as much as the high price trade, doesn't cost as much as the high price contract, doesn't cost as much as what'd you pay for that guy? Oh my gosh. Because defense, making a trade that leaves your cupboard bare defensively isn't worth it. I don't care what you're adding offensively. The Warriors have the pros, the Warriors have the discipline, the Warriors have the coach, and the Warriors have the culture. And a young enough team that doesn't have a runway to do whatever it wants anymore to, I think, instill this defensive mindset. All defense begins with rebounding. The Warriors were the number 1 rebounding team in the NBA last year. I'm not sure how they did it, but they did. Lots of talk about how the Warriors are small. Well, what do you mean when the Warriors are small? Do you mean directly challenging the shot at the point of the shot? Okay, they're not great at that. But when it comes to pulling down rebounds, they rebound like they're a team full of 7-footers. Every single defensive possession ends with a rebound. That was a good defensive possession. So I think the Warriors are, in a weird way, halfway there to being a decent basketball team again. Keep rebounding. It's not like Klay's pulling down all these rebounds. He didn't lose a lot of rebounds by losing Klay Thompson. What you are losing is one of your weaker defenders by losing Klay Thompson. Look, I think Moses Moody can really fit the Warriors embracing this defensive mindset. Now, I think Brandon Pajemski is your starting two guard, but Moses Moody is going to actually get more minutes in this season than any before. And I put this out on Twitter. I got a lot of people, coming down my chimney saying, oh, what, we got another Moses Moody truther out here? We got a Moses Moody fan or stan? No, what I see is unrealized potential in a player who is a young 22 years old. Moses Moody's going into year 4, and he's 22 years old. He'll be 22 on opening night. He is a young 22. He's not going to turn 23 until May. I think his birthday's in May. I think he's going to play an important part on this team, or he's going to be an important part of a trade that gets you Lauri Markkanen. I'm interested in seeing what Moses Moody got. I believe in him more than I think the Warriors even do. He's only 22. The Warriors' young guys that you're frustrated with are still in that they're going to make mistakes because they're only brand new guys level. Jonathan Kuminga. Look how young he is. People are trying to evaluate him like he's been in the league for 9 years and he's about to approach 30. He is 22 years old. Let me make sure about that. Hold on. Is he still 21? Jonathan Kuminga. 21! Excuse me. He's 21 years old. He'll be 22 by the time the season rolls around. You ready to give up on him? All the time they've spent developing him so far? This whole Jonathan Kuminga's never going to top out better than what? You don't know what Jonathan Kuminga's going to be yet. I think he's got an awful lot of upside. I think Moody has an awful lot of upside. Pajemski, Trace Jackson Davis, an awful lot of the young nucleus that you need to do a little bit of a rebuild. It's on the team. It's on the team already. Some other NBA news, these are big numbers. The cost of doing business is just going up in the NBA. My God, Jason Tatum yesterday agrees to a 5-year, $314 million Supermax contract. It is the most amount of money ever given contractually in NBA history. Again, that's almost the dollar amount that Joe Lacob bought the Warriors for goodness sakes, right? Jaylen Brown has a $285 million contract. So we're talking $600 million, like $1 billion, $500 million, more than $500 million wrapped up into these two players on one team, and the two of them now represent the largest contracts in NBA history. They're both now on Boston. The Cavaliers give Donovan Mitchell a 3-year, $150 million max extension to stay in Cleveland, where he's going to be joined by his new head coach, former Warriors assistant Kenny Atkinson. This also puts him on track for reaching that mark in your career where you can turn around and get that supermax. There's talk that Donovan Mitchell is going to be the next, a few years from now, highest paid player in NBA history, looking at a $380 million contract. Teach your kids how to play basketball, folks. It pays. Again, Klay Thompson is signing a let's see what you got left, old man, in your mid-30s contract for $50 million. It's good work if you can find it. Really, truly is. One other story before we get into what's going on baseball and doing a little countdown to wrap up our show today. Did you see the story about Florida Panther Sam Reinhart? So Sam Reinhart, by the way, just signed an 8-year, $69 million extension, or the kind of money that Jason Tatum would tell you he wouldn't even bother bending over picking up these days. But Sam Reinhart signs an extension with the Stanley Cup champs. And I tell you that to tell you this, he missed the parade. He missed the Florida Panthers Stanley Cup Championship parade because it was a day that his friend had already reserved for a wedding. I don't even know if he was in the wedding party, but he went to his boy's wedding ahead of the Stanley Cup Championship parade. And I guess he said, well, we'll repeat as champs. My man only gets married once. The truth is, there's probably a better chance that his friend will be remarried than there is a chance to repeat as Stanley Cup champions. But neither here nor there. That's a good friend, right? I'm going to skip my championship parade to be at your wedding. That's a hell of a pal right there. So, Sam Reinhart, don't know much about you other than you scored the first goal of the Panther season and the final goal of the Panther season. And you skipped a parade to go to your boy's wedding. You must really like the electric slide or whatever bad dances or open bar things that happen at a wedding. Little baseball for you. We got Giants at Braves. It's a 4:20 first pitch, West Coast time. Right on, man. Right on. 4:20 first pitch. You got Hayden Bird song. Hayden Bird song. What a fancy name that is. Hayden Bird song. He makes a second career start. He's going up against Ronaldo Lopez, who's off to a great start this year. He's 6-2 with a 1.70 ERA for the Braves. This is the start of a 6-game road trip, the final road trip of the first half for the Giants. They got 3 in Atlanta, then 3 in Cleveland. This is a tough 6-game road trip. Now, I know that the Giants just sort of handled their business against the Dodgers and the Cubs. Dodgers are good. Cubs really aren't. These are 6 really tough games. 3 with the Braves. Again, the only reason why the Braves aren't in first place is because the Phillies are a steamroller right now. So you got 3 in Atlanta against a really good Atlanta team. And then you go to Cleveland. This is no easy trip to Cleveland. While you weren't paying attention to the Cleveland Guardians, let me tell you what they've done. They've joined Major League Baseball's 50-win club already this year. There's only a handful of teams that are already north of 50 wins. They're 26-9 at home. They're the only team in baseball to have single-digit losses on their home field at this point in the season. Cleveland is really good, and they're almost unbeatable at home. So good luck to the San Francisco Giants. This is a tough 6-game road trip. Then they come home for a 6-game homestand, and then it's all-star time. So we're moving right along through this Major League season. Oh, by the way, we got Angels at the A's. Whatever. Sure. Angels at the A's. Have fun with that. Meanwhile, just to let you know that we're getting through a very slow, dull time of the year, we're going to have a couple of friends help us get through this month. The first friend is everybody's best friend. It's the NFL. And the 49ers are 12 days away from opening training camp down in Santa Clara for rookies and then veterans a few days later. This means we have a 2-week kind of ish window to get a Brandon Ayuk contract done to make sure that everyone hits the ground on the same page and running in training camp. So tick-tock, TikTok, let's go. Speaking of TikTok, Damon Bruce Plus is now on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. TikTok's not on my phone, but a guy who's really helping me edit, put up videos, my man Matt insists we need to be on TikTok. We are on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, follow Damon Bruce on TikTok, and may God have mercy on all of our souls. 12 days away from training camp, TikTok. Our other good friend that we only get to see once every 4 years is coming around. We are 24 days away from the Summer Olympics, and that will be fun. I love the Olympics. So I'm looking forward to that happening. Looking forward to the Plus Mania that we'll have coming up soon. We'll be announcing that later this week. I got to put my head together with my man Kenny at the Dubliner in West Portal and figure it out. I got to call Ike and see if he can't have a whole bunch of sandwiches delivered to us that day. Make sure you download that Ike's Rewards app. You need to do it before midnight, July 3rd, to have a $4 bonus in rewards points put into your account by Ike. Just sprinkle it, man. And there you go. That is an efficient, streamlined, wasting none of your time sports show, if there ever was one. And I hope you feel that way too, and you plan on coming back Wednesday, 8:45 a.m. Yours truly, Larry Krueger, with a wake up where we'll be all over whatever the Niners do. Get Brandon Ayuk signed. We'll have an 11 o'clock show as always tomorrow. Still haven't figured out the 4th of July. So, be aware of your programming around the 4th of July. Might take July 5th off to roll it into like a 3-day weekend. I don't know. The truth is, I like hanging out with you good people so freaking much, I might just stop by anyway. Maybe you'll hear from Sports Bane this 4th of July, encouraging people to hold on to firecrackers and blow their own fingers off. That sounds like a Sports Bane-y type of thing to do, don't you think? If you're listening on the podcast, thank you so much for doing so. Tell your friends about the podcast. It is alive. It continues to grow. Thank you so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, we're going to hop into Club Plus for the first time this week, so I hope you're ready to party with America's squeakiest disco ball. Meanwhile, thank you so much. Like and subscribe, my friends, and do remember that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, he's gone. Oh, wait, I lost the outlet. Hold on, where's it? There it is. There's the plug. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at those high-tech lights. It's as if we're at Sphere in Las Vegas. All right, what do we go? Ike saying you go ahead and get every store but Redwood City, Santa Rosa, and San Mateo, but everyone else, baby, is getting it done. I don't know what's wrong with those stores, why they won't get in line and do what we tell them to do, Ike. Let's get that done. Yossarian, hooray, can't wait for Plus 4. It's going to happen. Stacy Leo, whoop, whoop. Going to drag her son to another Plus Mania again? I hope so, Stacy. Chef A saying, please, please, please have Plus Mania 4 on a Saturday or Sunday. It will be on a weekend. I can promise you that. My man, San Bruno Mike saying already an Ike's app member, been loving those rewards. Hayward Shop does it right. Hell yeah, Hayward Shop. Shout it out. Zothamus off to Tahoe for the 4th. Don't burn the entire Tahoe National Forest down, please. Thank you very much. Have a great time. God, I caught some great weather up in Tahoe just about a week ago myself. It's fantastic. Yeah, good advice here from Uncle San Bruno Mike. Bring that sunscreen. Rockin' New Air 84. The over hit for sip of the day. There you go. Hope you took that over. Otis. Always great to have Otis in here. I also wonder if part of why Klay didn't go to the Lakers is because he grew up a Kobe fan. Kobe Laker fans aren't down with LeBron on the Lakers. I don't think so. Remember, Klay Thompson is not some fan anymore. He's a future Hall of Fame player. Klay Thompson isn't walking around thinking about basketball like a fan. He's a future Hall of Famer and he's a businessman. I think he looked at the Lakers and he saw, well, there's a team that's not nearly as close to the NBA Finals as the other team was, Dallas Mavericks, who were in the NBA Finals just a few weeks ago. So I think that led him to Dallas. I think tax-free state living led him to Dallas. I think getting out of the shadow of just the Warriors and basketball in California led him to Dallas. Look, here's what Klay Thompson's going to do. He is going to ride a boat around whatever beautiful private lake he decides to buy his mansion on in Dallas. He is going to basically start banging a line of women who look like they have been just rolled off the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader assembly line. And Klay is going to make a ton of money, shoot threes, maybe hit a few of them, bang hot chicks, and live a good life at a much less expensive rate than he's used to in the state of Texas. Don't feel bad for Klay Thompson. Talking about that free throw disparity, you are right about this, Mark Graves. That does make it ironic that he got hurt going to the basket. Yeah, Mr. Never Tries to Dunk tried to dunk in an NBA Finals game, and that began the altering of Klay's career forever. Rebel DeSounds. The championship run is over. Let's just enjoy Curry's final years. I don't think I can argue with you. I don't think I'm going to bother arguing with you because I agree with you. The dynasty, as we know it, officially over now. It might have unofficially ended a couple of years ago, but it's officially over now. And whatever happens here now is something so completely different. I don't think you measure it against what has happened. This is a new Warriors team going forward. SF Indigo says, Chef Curry and the Line Cooks. Yes, Chef. By the way, I have started The Bear on Hulu. It's a stressful show. That's not a, like, wrap up your night on a nice little easy show. That show is full of stress. I like it. It's good. It's a little bit of a love letter to Chicago. I don't understand why they have to act like a French 3 Michelin star kitchen to just serve up fucking beef sandwiches, but okay. Seriously, you're just doing Italian dip beef sandwiches and you're pretending like you're preparing a 3-star yes chef Michelin level, like it's not the French Laundry. Sam Bruno Mike, can we hypnotize Wiggins to play defense this year? If he plays defense like it's a contract year, the Warriors will be competitive. I don't know. I don't believe in Andrew Wiggins. Chef A. Yeah, I remember. Remember when the Dubs had a great defensive team? Like to see that again. Again, if playing great defense a few years ago made you stand out, imagine what it could do for you today. There ain't nobody in this league playing defense hard anymore in the regular season. Nobody. So play some defense. See where it takes you. How about a Melton on Rye? Thank you, True Blue, forever. As you work on that, we got, oh no, True Blue Forever is also saying, I can't even spell Markkinen. Lowry, Laurie. Ugh. He's a good player. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I kind of want to see the Warriors do the best with what they've got this year, get under, which they are now under the luxury tax for the first time and feels like forever, and reset that way. Reset that way. more than I'd want to sink that much of future paychecks and salaries into Lauri Markkanen. Maybe I'm being disrespectful of Lauri Markkanen. Like all of you, I don't watch much Jazz basketball. I know he's good. Is he a difference maker to the point where you'd give up the world for him? I wouldn't. I would absolutely be cool with a let's see what you got out of the kid season from the Warriors with Steph Curry, just being that one man army that we talked about. Vic, Moody and Melton are better than Klay and CP3. Not yet, they're not, but they will be. Kai17, haven't seen you in here before. I don't know if he knows who I am. He just referred to me as this guy. This guy's making a lot of sense. It's what we do here. It's what we do. We're trying to make sense in a world of just noise and misunderstanding. Whole world fascinated by shapes and colors. We're looking for angles over here. And you are right. Kuminga was your second best player last year. You see James Wiseman's going to be a pacer? They signed him. Let me tell you what they turn on quickly in the state of Indiana. Big men who ain't dogs. So good luck with that. Tatum and Brown together, almost making as much as Ohtani. Yeah, and that's nuts, man. It's good to be Shohei Ohtani. Bet on it. Let's see. Nathan is right here. If you're twice as good as the average player, you get paid 10 times more. It's the truth. It's nuts. These salaries are nuts. Absolutely nuts. I mean, it can't be sustainable. I don't know what's going to cause the bubble to burst across all sports, but I feel like it's going to be coming. You can only turn around and reinvent how sports are distributed once every few decades, and it feels like we're going through that moment right now. Just asking about Ray Ratto. What about Ray Ratto? Ray's hard to find and pin down. That's all I can tell you. I think he went to Europe for a long time. Damon, stay away from the TikToks. It's for 12-year-old girls. Apparently, it's for everyone. Not for me, but everybody else is on that son of a bitch. So I guess we needed to get up there too. I'm going to have my producer be the guy who handles it. Again, TikTok's not on my phone, but we're on TikTok. So do with it what you will. Oh, look at that. See, Ike is a master of social media. He understands. That's an instant follow. Thank you, Ike. I appreciate it. American soccer sucks. Well, take the word American out of it, and I agree with you there. Just soccer in general sucks. So as long as Team USA continues to suck, I'm all about it. I am all about it. Whatever gets soccer off my TV the fastest, I'm good with it. So as long as all I know is that America is supposed to be turning that soccer corner for 30 years now, and every single time I look up and America's playing a game that it needs to win, it loses. Do not like soccer. So, America losing. I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Damon, please promise no Bane dancing on TikTok. First of all, I'm not Bane. We all know that. Second of all, I promise you that won't happen. I wouldn't even know. How do I do a TikTok dance? What do I do? The Macarena? I don't know. Sprinkle me, Meng. See, that's what I'm talking about. Turn on your mic, Ray. Is my mic not on? Am I going through the computer? Is that the problem here? Oh well. Too late now. All right. Ike saying, I've been out with Klay. Can confirm. Yeah, that guy knows how to pull wool, no doubt. Rockin' new era. Klay will basically be Pat the Bat in the marina in Dallas. You ready to fuck Pat Burrell? I love it. Yeah, Klay's gonna do good. My friends, I think that is all the time we have for today. And oh, by the way, smash that like button. Thank you so much, Erwin. Thank you all very, very much. Yeah, Damon, this guy, Bruce. Since we're talking about guys, we're going to shout out Guy Haberman. I like that an awful lot. Love Guy Haberman. And there you go. Yeah, Hugh Josky Bear saying, look, man, The Bear is a great show. It's anything but a happy show. There are elements of humor, but it's stressful and sad, but great. Look, it is well done. There's good acting all around, interesting characters, but a nice calm way to end the night, it is not. It is definitely not that. Oh, good. Erwin, Mike's fine. Thank goodness. I'm glad the mic is fine. You are all such fine people. I thank you so much for watching and hanging out here in Club Plus. It just breaks my heart to let you know that you don't have to go home. You just can't stay here.